If you bake low carb, you know how hard it is to get a chocolate cake right. The crumb is dry, the sweetener burns, the chocolate flavor falls flat. You follow the recipe and it still doesn't work. This video fixes all three problems at the same time. What you're watching right now is why this cake works. Hot coffee poured directly over cacao powder. It's called a bloom. It unlocks the flavor that processing closed off. It makes the chocolate taste more like chocolate, not more like coffee. Every ingredient in this recipe has a reason. Every reason has evidence. The cacao, the temperature, the extra egg yolk, all of it disclosed. That is how this channel works. That is the Healthy Skillet standard. Stay with me. Before this recipe is filmed, it runs through the Healthy Skillet standard. 3 pillars. Every claim has a source. Every source has a standard. Every standard has evidence. Here's how each ingredient clears those pillars. The bloom. Most chocolate cake recipes add dry cacao powder straight into the batter. The flavor comes out flat, one-dimensional. Here's why. Cacao powder is processed at high heat. That heat drives off the volatile flavor compounds, the ones that make chocolate taste deep and complex. Hot liquid brings some of them back. The heat and moisture reactivate what is left. The cacao blooms. You get more chocolate taste from exactly the same amount of powder. Coffee does not make this cake taste like coffee. It makes the chocolate taste more like chocolate. That is the standard professional pastry technique, and it works. The temperature. The monk fruit allulose blend in this recipe starts browning at 220 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees lower than sugar. At 350 degrees, the outside of the cake browns and turns bitter before the center is done. You cannot fix that after the fact. 325 degrees is the only temperature that lets the allulose brown correctly and gives the almond flour crumb enough time to set. This is why every allulose recipe on this channel bakes at 325. Temperature is the only control. The monk fruit addition to the allulose does not change that threshold. The allulose behaves exactly the same with or without the monk fruit. The extra egg yolk. 3 whole eggs and 1 additional yolk. The yolk adds fat and acts as an emulsifier. It holds the batter together without tightening the crumb the way an extra egg white would. Almond flour has no gluten. Fat and egg protein are what hold this crumb together. The extra yolk shifts that balance toward fat. The result is a fudgier, more cohesive slice that does not fall apart when you cut it. The yogurt. Full fat Greek yogurt only. Reduced fat produces a noticeably drier crumb. The fat in the yogurt works with the almond flour and the extra yolk to hold moisture through the entire bake. It also adds a mild tang that keeps the sweetness from reading flat. It does not compete with the chocolate, it actually balances it. Navitas Organics Cacao, sourced in the Dominican Republic. There's no Prop 65 warning on the physical label. Consumer Reports published data puts it at 77% of the lead limit and 17% of the cadmium limit. Lowest published numbers at retail right now. It's not perfect, but it is better. Every claim sourced, every source evaluated against a standard. That is the only reason this bag is on the counter. First, we're going to set the oven at 325 degrees. I've buttered the pan and we're putting parchment on the bottom with overhang on 2 sides. Those handles are how the cake lifts out cleanly after cooling. Eggs and yogurt on the counter now. Room temperature before they go in the batter. To bloom the cacao, we put in 1/4 cup organic cacao powder into the bowl with 1/4 cup strong brewed black coffee just off the boil. Pour it directly over the powder. Whisk immediately and vigorously. The transformation happens fast. Dry powder to glossy dark liquid in under 30 seconds. That shine is the bloom working. Set it aside to cool, 3 minutes minimum. Hot bloom goes into the eggs. Cooked eggs go into the trash. For our dry ingredients, we're sifting 2 cups superfine blanched almond flour, not almond meal, ½ cup monk fruit allulose blend, verified no erythritol, 1 teaspoon aluminum-free baking powder. Check the date. Expired baking powder does not work. Put all the dried ingredients together and sift. Even distribution of the leavening prevents an uneven rise. For our wet ingredients, we're going to place in a separate bowl 3 whole eggs and 1 additional yolk, all at room temperature. Whisk until slightly frothy, about 30 seconds. 2/3 cup full-fat plain Greek yogurt, four tablespoons salted melted butter, slightly cooled, 1 teaspoon pure vanilla extract, and we're going to whisk to combine all of those. The cooled bloom goes in now. Slow pour. Whisk until fully incorporated. Watch the batter turn dark and glossy. That color and shine tells you the bloom worked. We're going to put our wet ingredients into the dry and fold gently with slow, deliberate strokes with a spatula. Do not whisk. Do not overmix. Almond flour does not like to be overhandled. Stop the moment no dry flour is visible. Right there. Transfer to your prepared pan. Scrape every bit from the bowl. Smooth the top with a wet spatula. We're ready to bake on a center rack, 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Timer at 25 minutes. Don't open the oven before the 25 minutes. Start checking at 25. Pull the cake the moment the toothpick comes out with moist crumbs. Not clean, moist crumbs. Clean means you went past it. Everyone's oven is different, so just check at 25 minutes and watch carefully. The edges should be set and pulling slightly away from the pan. Both signals together mean it's done. We want to cool it completely, but we'll start with 10 minutes in the pan because residual heat finishes the center. And don't skip that rest. Then we'll lift the cake out using the parchment handles. And we're going to transfer it to a wire rack. We're going to let it cool additionally a minimum of 45 minutes before dusting. The crumb continues to firm as it cools. Cut it early and it crumbles. Quick pause before we finish. If this video is useful to you, if understanding why an ingredient works changes how you cook, please consider subscribing. And also consider liking the video. It tells YouTube that this is worth showing to someone else. Share it with someone who bakes low carb and is trying to clean up what goes into their kitchen. Now the finish. We're going to dust with 2 tablespoons powdered monk fruit allulose blend, which is 1 tablespoon of the cacao powder and 2 tablespoons of the powdered allulose monk fruit blend. Sift together. The dusting disappears if you wait. Tap the strainer edge gently. Watch the dust settle into the dark surface. One clean slice. The crumb is dark, moist, and cohesive. It does not crumble. That's the extra egg yolk. That's the bloom. That's 325 degrees doing its job. This is what the cacao investigation was building toward. Not a warning label, a cake that earns its place in a clean kitchen. Here's the takeaway. Every decision in this recipe ran through the Healthy Skillet standard. Every claim has a source. Every source has a standard. Every standard has evidence. I evaluate all ingredients like an attorney evaluates evidence. The bloom is sourced to professional pastry chemistry. The temperature is sourced to allulose Maillard threshold research. The cacao is sourced to published heavy metal testing data. Not one decision in this recipe is a trend or a preference. All of it evidence, all of it disclosed. That is the Healthy Skillet standard. And that is the only reason this cake is on this channel. The recipe's in the description. The cacao investigation video, where the sourcing evidence lives, is on the end screen. Watch that next if you have not. Everything in this cake starts there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the kitchen.